Hello, everyone. Welcome to Word Funk. I am Leon Thomas. I am joined by Johnny Maloney and Austin Yorsky.
Yo, dudes.
Hey.
How is it hanging? Or how are, I guess because it's collective, how are they hanging?
I'm sorry. I'm eating ice cream as I'm starting this show.
What kind of ice cream?
The vanilla cone.
Just an ice cream cone? A vanilla ice cream cone?
Yeah.
Are you judging his ice cream choices, Johnny?
No, I mean, vanilla's stalwart, you know. It's just the way that he announced it, I expected it to be something, like, involved and complicated.
No.
You're an elitist even with ice cream.
Oh,
Johnny.
no, not at all. Not at all.
Should he have made it from scratch?
I'm an ice cream pantheist. I believe that all ice creams belong in the world, and they're all representative of the true spirit of ice cream.
What about frozen yogurt?
Yeah, let frozen yogurt have a pass. I've had some pretty good frozen yogurt in my day. Just as long as we don't refer to it as froyo.
Are we not allowed to do that? Is that like a slur?
There's something just about the way it sounds, the way that froyo comes off the tongue, that it just, like, I don't know. It sounds like it should be a hairstyle from, like, 1991 or something. Oh my god, super cute, you guys. I know, it's the new froyo.
Johnny?
Yes.
No. No.
That's what I'm trying to say. Say no to froyo.
Hi, Leon.
Alright. I'm almost done my ice cream.
Have you guys noticed that you can't buy moisturizer anymore?
What?
No.
I know that sounds weird. Like, you can go to the store and be like, I'm looking for the moisturizer, and it will be like, oh, it's over there. But, like, almost every bottle of moisturizer that I've come across in, like, the past year doesn't say, like, moisturizer. They all say body lotion. Like, the word moisturizer has gone as an advertising word. I can't find it anymore. I don't know if this is a regional thing or if it's like what, but I was like, I was kind of like genuinely perplexed there for a while, because I was like, I want moisturizer. You know, do I want body lotion? I guess I do. I mean, it sounds sexier, certainly. To be like, would you like some body lotion? Leon, how would you like a fresh application of body lotion?
Okay. I've experienced the same thing with toilet paper. It's not called that anymore. It's called bathroom tissue. Which is weird because it sounds like I'm just blowing my nose with it. But in the bathroom. But I guess isn't that kind of like they're hiding what it's really supposed to be or something? It's like
I mean, you know, let's be honest. If advertising was honest, they'd probably call toilet paper shit sheets.
Right. But no, it's just like for as long as I can remember, it's always been called toilet paper. And then at some point, some marketing genius said, you know what? People don't like the word toilet. Let's call it something ambiguous.
Or even worse, could you imagine if it was like just behind closed doors, one company came up with it? Yeah, like one company was like, I've got it. We'll call it bathroom tissue. And then, like, you know, you get that quick cutaway to, like, the competitors' offices, and there's that, like, young, hotshot businessman who's, like, running down the hallway with this folder in his hand, and he, like, runs up to this boardroom, and the woman's like, you can't go in there! And he's like, is he in there? Is he in there? He needs to see this! And, like, the doors fly open, and he's like, they're not calling it toilet paper anymore, the magnificent bastards!
Everything we knew and loved is gone. Except for cartoons. They're all coming back. That's what I'm going to talk about in a minute.
And apparently syphilis. I mean, syphilis looks like it goes away, but it really doesn't.
Okay.
It sticks around. You gotta watch out for syphilis. It'll come back to you.
Okay. We have a lot of things to talk about this week. Nothing important. Just really stupid video games and cartoons and stuff.
It's important to me.
Well, I mean, I find it important in that it is nostalgic and therefore is manipulative. I'm sorry. At the very moment that we're recording this, we just started recording this, someone named... Who is this person? Someone is, like, asking me to add me on Skype, and I don't know who this person is. So let's do this live.
It's probably a bot.
Probably. Let's find out, because it happens every once in a while, and it's always someone trying to be, like, faux sexy with me. So,
yeah, they're called bots, Leon.
Yeah, I understand that, but I want to do this on the air, because this is rare that it happens, so hold on. So, it's someone named Karen, and I said, who are you? Because it's always a fake woman. It's never a fake man who wants to have sex with me. It's always a fake woman. We're doing this right now.
Does that make it a... So, I'm sorry. Because it's not like a binary choice anymore, right? Like, you can't just be like, it's a fake woman, therefore it's a real man.
Well, no, I'm not saying...
It's like there's one exclusion, so, like, does that make it a robosexual?
No, I wasn't saying that it's a fake woman, meaning it's a man, like, behind a computer. I mean, it's a computer program made to look like a woman. Oh, but
So what's the sexual preference term then for an AI program, however simple, that wants to have sex with a human?
If it's truly AI, then it would be able to tell us its preferences, presumably, because it would have evolve the intelligence or whatever to be able to express that, right?
The bot responded to me. It says, I got your name spelled wrong from the profile directory here on Skype because I was bored and looking for new people to talk to, lol.
Lol.
That's not worth a lol.
It's really not.
That is not laugh out loud material. That's not even a fucking chuckle. Maybe a wry smirk.
I didn't even say anything. So are you laughing at your own joke? There wasn't even a joke. And he said, and she, finger quotes, says 25/F here, you.
4,000 robots.
Look, you're a robot, so nothing I can say can offend you. So I'm going to type.
Sorry, very briefly, I have a funny story about LOL, but you go ahead, Leon. Continue.
Are women's Skype profiles inundated with requests from like sexy shirtless men bots? That's what I want.
I don't know.
If anybody listening could elucidate that for us, that would be wonderful.
What makes you think that they're bots and not real sexy shirtless men like me?
Just roving bands of sexy shirtless men, just going around Skype, just trying to friend everyone.
Austin, I've been on the internet for a number of years, and I understand finally that the proper way to woo ladies is to assail them in public forums like Twitter and Skype over and over and over again for hours until they respond to you with some kind of distaste. After which, now you have captured their attention, you should start taking rude pictures of your anatomy and sending it to them unwanted. And then when they refuse those advances, calling them horrible names and attempting to undermine their self-confidence.
That's how you do it.
That just got super real.
Yeah. By the way, whenever this has happened, I've always responded politely, even though I'm like 99% sure it's a bot. But I always want to I wonder if there's something I could say that could make someone who's maybe watching this happen on a screen somewhere actually respond. So I'm going to say this. I just typed, I am going to throw you out a window and watch you die. You will scream. You will scream forever.
Ooh, sexy talk. How high is the window, Leon? You're getting me all hot here.
Well, apparently, so the response was, well, what you up to?
I think you just voice comped her ass.
Right. I don't even know what to say to this bot anymore.
And I'm going to tell my story about LOL, all right? I'm not going to bother naming the parties, but basically, somebody that I know, when their, I think it was mother, first got a cell phone, sent out, like, quite literally, like, I'm not even joking, sent out this text message to her, like, a few months after the cell phone, that was like, got some news, I got some news, you should sit down, your aunt just died. Lol. And like, this person texted back and was like, what the fuck? Like, what's with the LOL? And she's like, well, doesn't it mean lots of love? She was like, no, Mom. It means laughing out loud. And then the answer came back, oh, well then I have a few emails to write.
Yeah, it's funny because old people don't know anything about technology, and we're better than them, so we can laugh at them. It's good.
No,
Good job,
They're all terrible.
I just thought it was funny. I just thought it was funny that it was like, that she was like something like apparently the fifth or sixth person to be notified, and nobody was like,
Nobody brought it up.
Nobody brought it up.
My response to the robot was...
What was the bot's name?
Oh, I'm sorry. The bot's name is Karen Prescott.
Okay.
A totally real person. My response was from What You Up To was, I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. Attack ships on fire off the shoulder of Orion. I watched sea beams glitter in the dark near the Tannhauser Gate. All those moments will be lost in time like tears in the rain, time to die.
You would think they would have a Blade Runner filter.
Right.
That's the first step of keeping your bots undetectable.
Yeah, I feel like that's the way to do it. Okay, I'm gonna stop doing this now because there's nothing I can say. Oh no, they responded. I'm just back from Christmas break at school. I'm still in university right now, so I was enjoying my time off. Oh god damn it, this bot is way too young for me.
How the fuck are they back from Christmas break at the end of fucking February?
That's decadent. That's some bourgeois shit.
What kind of school is this Karen Prescott going to?
Yeah, I mean, I guess robot school has like very different like religious denominations, so maybe their Christmas break like lasts an extra month or something.
Maybe they're still on the Julian calendar.
I don't know. They celebrate Robonica. Let's actually talk.
This is the oldest school shit ever, but if anybody's listening from the motherfucking BT community podcast days, that's before the podcast that we were on together, we had a segment where we would read all the weird spam from the BT forums, and they were like mostly like basically like male enhancement pills stuff, but it was all like gibberish, and we got one that was like a suicidal bot. It was like, oh god, life is meaningless, please kill me now, you can order for only $5.99. And we felt really bad. It was, some of these bots are clearly depressed, Leon. You should treat them with dignity.
I'm sorry.
Anyway. Karen Prescott is not depressed. She gets a fucking 2-month Christmas break.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. So here's something that's actually going on in the world today, or at least in our world. There are reboots of television shows that were on when I was growing up, and definitely when Johnny was growing up. I don't know so much about Austin. You're like a child. But anyway.
Probably on like the retro channel when Austin was growing up.
Yeah.
And he probably watched them with disdain and was like, oh, God, it's so dated.
2D animation. So anyway.
I can't even catch them all.
DuckTales, Danger Mouse, and Inspector Gadget are all coming back to television and or Netflix. Basically, Netflix says they're bringing back Danger Mouse. It's coming back next year, so we have to wait till March of 2016. I did not watch Danger Mouse, but it was apparently popular. I did watch Inspector Gadget. That is coming back to Netflix in March of this year, which sounds like it would be awesome, but it's going to be computer-generated. It's not going to look like the old Inspector Gadget. There is absolutely no casting news, which means I have no idea who's going to be playing Inspector Gadget.
You mean it's not going to be Matthew Broderick?
No, I assume it will not be. If it were, I guess I would hear by now. The fact that, I mean, it's on in like a few days, and we don't know anything about the casting is frightening, honestly.
I would love to see some behind-the-scenes casting of the Dr. Claw sessions. Like, I want some Dr. Claw audition tapes, is what I want.
I guess I mean Vin Diesel would probably be pretty good at that, but yeah, there's very little information about this. But the big one that just broke today that everyone's, I guess, excited about is that DuckTales will be on Disney XD. That's the same station that has the new Star Wars show. Won't be until 2017, so we have a long time to wait. No word on whether it'll be computer generated like the Star Wars show, or it'll be classic animation. But my big interest in this is that if the DuckTales reboot works, then the Darkwing Duck spin-off reboot is not far behind. And that's the show I liked more.
You know why they're waiting until 2017, right?
Why is that?
Because they need, obviously, 2 years to try and write a theme song to it that lives up to the theme song to the original DuckTales cartoon. And then with 2 months to go, when they discovered that they've wasted the last 2 years trying to write such a catchy earworm, they're gonna be like, oh fuck, just give the original theme song to Skrillex.
Is he still around? Is he still doing stuff?
Yeah. Last I heard, he was making something like a video game with Steven Spielberg.
What?
What?
What's happening?
There was something I read a story about Skrillex. He was working with Giorgio Moroder. Sorry, because they're doing the soundtrack for the new Tron video game.
Okay.
Yeah, Giorgio Moroder and Skrillex.
You're just saying words. I don't know who any of these people are or what
I know that guy. He's the producer on like Daft Punk stuff.
Oh. All right.
He's been a record producer for like fucking years, like a songwriter and a record producer. He worked with I think Blondie and fucking ELO and Elton John and fucking Donna Summer and David Bowie and he wrote some songs for David Bowie and Kylie Minogue and he's one of the sort of golden age record producers. I mean, he worked with practically everybody in the late 60s and 70s and early 80s and shit like that, like the Human League and fucking
all right. Well,
we got off onto a gosh dang tangent here.
Yeah. What were we talking about?
Oh fuck yeah! I know. And he wrote the theme song to the Neverending Story. Fuck.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, now I know who he is. Oh, that's all you had to say. You went and did this big long list of the most famous stars ever. All you had to really say was he wrote Neverending Story, the theme song.
It took me a little while, right? I mean, give me a break here, dude.
Yeah. Great lyrics, too. Never-ending story, woo, woo, woo.
Turn around.
Oh, yeah, that, too. There was also that.
What you see.
I watched the crap out of Never-ending Story when I was young. My father actually liked it, too. He named his... I don't know if this dog is still alive, but he named one of his dogs Falcor, actually, because it was a dragon that was basically a dog.
We were talking about Void Comp test earlier in the cast.
Yeah.
I firmly believe that it's a firm test of whether or not somebody has emotions if they can watch Artax.
Oh God! Oh, I have a story about that. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
If they can watch Artax stop in the swamp of never-ending sorrows and not choke up a little bit, I'm like, fuck it, you got no soul.
Yeah, when I, years ago, when I was not doing full-time teaching work, but took some sub-jobs, I was substituting for some teacher, and this particular teacher was one of those lazy ones who decided not to write a, lesson plan and just said, just show them a movie. Which, I mean, for kids, that's great, but really it's just incredibly lazy and not anything I did when I was a full-time teacher. But anyway, they didn't even leave, an explanation, like which movie to watch. So there was 2 VHS tapes in the room. One was Ice Age, and the other was the Never-ending Story. So I chose the Never-ending Story for everyone, and they hated it. And it just blew my mind. And we got to the bat scene. It was like that's like the saddest scene. It's like, Artax! And they just like booed it. And I was just sitting there like, your generation is so cynical that you can't watch a horse drown and have it move you. That is terrible.
Yeah. You should have just like dumped propane or like all over the class, just like opened up a canister of propane and just like walked away, lit a match, and thrown it behind you.
Yeah.
Nothing good is going to come from the people in that room. Nothing.
No. I actually remember one of the kids in that room, in addition to just not caring about a drowning horse, was just a dick. I picked up the tape of Ice Age and I said, well, would you guys like to watch this? And then he like ran over to me and like snatched it out of my hand. And I walked over to him and snatched it out of his hand because that was a dick move. And he says, you can't touch me! You can't touch me! I said, I didn't. I touched the tape that you snatched out of my hand. Now sit down. And he says, I'm going to call the police. And I said, what are you talking about? And he says, well, I'm going to tell them that you touched me. He said, but obviously I didn't. I said, I don't think I put it that way. I was like, I basically just rolled my eyes at him. And he just threw a fit, and I had him sent out of class because he was a dick, as most kids are. God,
Jesus.
I know.
Did you wind up watching Ice Age?
I think we actually did.
Did they like Ice Age better than the Neverending Story?
Yeah, they actually did. They
oh my god!
I know, right? Everything's wrong.
If it was like the Neverending Story 3, okay, fine. Sure, no problem. I mean, apart from the curiosity of seeing Jack Black when he was Finnish, but like, God.
I know. All right, before we move on to the video game news, I know, Johnny, you have a couple things you want to say. I just want to have a quick update from last week's topic. The next Alien movie. We talked about it, and not only is Sigourney Weaver in the movie as Ripley, but Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection are basically being disregarded, and it's not just taking place in between Aliens and Alien 3. Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection didn't happen.
She just retconned entirely.
Yeah. Someone on my Twitter feed, I'm just actually said it's going to be called Alien Resurrectcon. And that was hysterical. So thank you, Miss Donkey, for saying that very good joke. Anyway, I guess we should talk about video games because there's a couple things to talk about. You said you're engrossed in a new game, Johnny?
Not a new game necessarily.
Okay. A game.
It's a new coat of paint. Okay. On an old classic. And I feel, normally, I feel, because it seems like these days when you talk about, HD remaster editions, there's a good split of how people feel about HD remasters, because there are some games that, obviously don't need it necessarily.
Sure.
For example, I know that there was a remaster of Metro 2033 that came out not that long ago, which may have worked if the original game hadn't been originally released in HD. So there's that. And you get some other things, you've got your Master Chief collections, and the Silent Hill remasters, I remember, were not particularly popular because they wound up using their graphical fidelity to do away with some of the things that may have been included in Silent Hill as for atmospheric purposes as opposed to purely technologically limiting. But in this case, I happen to think it's justified. And that is that just today, Gearbox Software released their Homeworld Remastered collection, which is both Homeworld 1 and 2. Sadly, Cataclysm is still missing, but I learned that the reason why Homeworld Cataclysm is missing is because they can't find the source code. And in the remaster collection, not only do you get Homeworld 1 and 2 remastered, which appear in full high-definition glory with reworked visual effects and GUI and textures and so on and so forth. But you actually get access to the classic version of the game as well, so the purest homeworld. Now, the homeworld games are rather old, too. So I don't think we've seen homeworld in about 16 years. I'm trying to remember when they came out. 1990.
I'm reading the Wikipedia right now because I have no idea what this stuff is. Because this is so PC.
I think, yeah. Well, I mean, it's real-time strategy games are commonly considered the demesnes of PC games because it's a little difficult to manage so many functions with a controller. Although, some companies have tackled the task, and reasonably well. It's just never really caught on. But I think it was like 1998, maybe, or 99, that Homeworld originally came out. And in all that time, in like the 14 or 15, 16 years that Homeworld has kind of been floating out there as a strategy classic, not once has it become available digitally. So whereas, like, a lot of old PC games, thanks to the work of companies like Good Old Games, as well as more recently, Steam has actually been delving into a lot of back catalog stuff. A lot of classic games you can just buy for, like, a couple of bucks, basically, and get them. And for some reason, Homeworld never made that leap. And it's not really understood why, but when THQ folded, not so long ago, Gearbox Software wound up buying the Homeworld license from them, and then the first thing they did was be like, okay, we're going to release Homeworld in HD! And everybody was like, yay, wait a minute, Gearbox, you've never made a strategy game in your life. Which is okay, because they didn't really make it, they just kind of like spat on it and rubbed it with a soft cloth, in that way that men love their cars. Spit on their cars.
Well, if Gearbox is good at anything, it's resurrecting old franchises and making them perfect, obviously.
Yes, as evidenced by their entire back catalog.
Jokes.
Yeah.
Notably, Aliens, Colonial Marines.
Watch as we discover humor and comedy before your very eyes.
Just sorry, it takes me a little while to say that. Whenever I think about that title, I have a very slow stroke. I mean, it's
Leon.
I don't care. I like to Duke Nukem forever, but whatever.
I never got to play it.
You don't have to, really.
I probably will at some point in time. But the good news is, and this is like I have good things to say about Gearbox now, is that the Homeworld remaster is fantastic. It's phenomenal. It looks gorgeous. I mean, like it's retains the soundtrack. It improves a lot of the menu work. It's like it's there. It's back. It's got that special Homeworld spice, that zest, that little explosion of flavor at the end of your first bite, where you're like, ooh. Yeah, now I have nice things to say about Gearbox, and I don't know what's coming.
Well, you like Borderlands too.
I did like Borderlands too, but like by and large, my feelings for their catalog are really negative. I mean, like I thought Borderlands was not a very good game. A lot of people were like, and a lot of people agreed with me, where they were like, play Borderlands with a friend. If you play it by yourself, it sucks. I'm like, yeah, that means it's a sucky game, because I have fun with my friends doing pretty much everything. Like, like my friends and I can sit in literally like a hot tub. You can sit in warm water with your friends and have fun.
Oh, I have so much fun with my friends in warm water. It's like literally all we do.
But like if you sit in a hot tub by yourself and you're like, whee! You're not doing something fun. You're just So that was my problem with Borderlands, of course, and then, Duke Nukem Forever, and I know there's a lot of talk about whether or not they were responsible for Duke Nukem Forever, was largely considered a bomb. The demo that I played for it was unimpressive. It's why I didn't buy it. I think I may have picked it up on a sale for like $3 or something, but I can't recall. And then Colonial Marines was an unmitigated legendary disaster. So, what are we to think? Oh, congratulations, Gearbox. You made a game that good. I haven't played the pre-sequel to Borderlands because it just didn't seem like it was... The idea was cooked well enough for me to, I don't know, get that invested in a new $60 game for...
Yeah. It's more shooting. It's basically like an expansion.
It looked like an expansion, and I wasn't willing to pay that much money for Borderlands 2.1.
Yep.
But I'm happy to say that Homeworld is made with love and respect. At least, like the 15 minutes I've played of it or something? I don't know. Maybe it goes like sideways, and then suddenly there's a microtransaction in it for the rest of Samuel Barber's Adagio for Strings. Oh, please insert 1 quarter to hear the end of this song. I can just see people like shoveling quarters into their CD drives.
Do they even make CD drives anymore? Is that a thing we're still doing?
Oh, well, DVD drives, Blu-ray drives, I don't know, whatever you want to call them. You put a disc in it and then hit a button, and it goes... Ooh.
I don't put any discs. I can't even remember the last time I've actually put a disc into my computer, because everything's I just sort of get digitally now.
Yeah.
Games and movies you can download and stuff.
I still have a pretty respectable CD collection. So for there's sometimes for special CDs, I'll buy the physical product because I like, it's a collection now, so I feel like I have to grow it. It's a weird compulsion. I don't really understand it anymore, but I'm sort of like, for this, I'm gonna download this music. I'm gonna buy this music online, but I absolutely need the physical product for this one.
It's the sunk cost fallacy. You're like, I already have this collection. I might as well have more.
Yeah, I mean...
Too late now.
I kind of, I know that there's no point for me, but I just kind of I'm a slave to my whims. Oh. I justify it just by sort of being like, I want it. Can't really help that I want it. I just sort of do. But, so that's great. And ToeJam and Earl are coming back. I make of that what you will.
Maybe they're running a Kickstarter. It's not necessarily.
It's a pretty modest Kickstarter, though. I mean, it's not like it's not one of these $1 million jobby ones. 400.
Yeah.
400 grand is pretty. I mean, it's a bit of a cult title. The original one at least. I have a soft spot in my heart for the second one. The third one kind of jumped the rails completely. I didn't even know what was going on there. But the first one I deeply loved as a young man, as a whippersnapper, as a lad, you might say. So I'm gonna watch the pitch. I'll decide afterwards. I like it that it's being run by the co-creator of the franchise, and I like some of the concept art that they have. So it just seems kind of weird. I've always sort of thought ToeJam and Earl was a bit on the outside of the mascots, the mascot wars of the cartridge era consoles. Because they had one strong contender, and then they just sort of stuck around in the background as being that kind of dated, remember cool 90s rap.
They're very of their time.
With the medallions and the sneakers and the really baggy shorts called jams. They were hip and cool, and they had attitude.
I'll be honest, I've never played ToeJam and Earl. Never.
I don't think they're particularly good games, but I understand having nostalgia for them. They're very they represent when they were made very well. Although, like you said, Johnny, that it's one of the co-founders, which I think is interesting because we talked about all those cartoon reboots earlier. We don't have that much information about them, but it strikes me that probably not many of the people originally involved in them are going to be back, which means they're going to be basically new cartoons entirely with just old characters.
Which can work, or for or against the project. Really, it depends on we've talked at length about George Lucas and about how, at least I recall walking away from the conversation saying that one of the biggest problems was that George Lucas, as a creator, didn't understand what in his creations made them worth what they were. Like he didn't understand the value in the original Star Wars trilogy, which made him ill-equipped to make the prequel trilogy, because he just, there was something that he couldn't glean, he couldn't recognize in something that he created that other people were appreciating. And sometimes, it's again, we talked about Twin Peaks coming back, and it was if Uwe Boll announced that he was directing 10 episodes of Twin Peaks, actually, that might weirdly work. But if he announced he was directing 10 episodes of Twin Peaks for Showtime, everybody would freak the fuck out, because it's no, you don't get Twin Peaks, you don't understand it. David Lynch understands it. Mark Frost understands it. So, it's a little difficult to say, because again, they're kind of outsiders in this mascot thing. What does the creator of ToeJam and Earl recognize as being the value in his created IP? I have no idea.
I wish I could respond, but all I know about it is that what they kind of look like from the box art. That I've never even for a moment in a friend had it and I went over. It's like one of those franchises that.
The first game was a top down exploratory game where basically every level would kind of randomly generate, and then you had to go around looking for parts of your spaceship, and it was a very cartoonized, stylized version of Earth, and it was basically from an alien's perspective about how Earth was fucking crazy.
I'm looking at the box art now, and one of them is saying "jammin" without the G, so that means that they're cool.
Yes.
I don't know which one is ToeJam and which one is Earl. That's
the red one is ToeJam.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Yeah. The red one with 3 legs. So you'd get, the enemies of the game would be these really highly stylized versions of just things that we take for granted as being part of Earth, as well as weird mythologized things. There'd be flocks of nerds that would flatten you if you got stepped on by them. They'd just literally flatten you. Or dentists that would try and drill you. Or there was a boogeyman that would chase you around invisible and would go boogie 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 boogie.
Okay.
And and it was so you'd wander around these levels looking for your spaceship, and you'd find presents. And you could use these presents as items. But every time you got a present, if it was brand new, you wouldn't know what it was. And the presents, like the landscape, was procedurally generated. So every time you played the game and you'd pick up a present, just because it was green doesn't mean it was the same present as the green one the last time you played the game. Okay. So you have to either pay someone with cash to identify these presents, or if you're desperate and you're I've got to get out of this situation, you could just open up a present and whatever happened to you, happened to you. And some of them were weapons where you could throw tomatoes, or other ones would be storm clouds that would follow you around and strike you with lightning. Some of them would be sneakers that would make you run really fast. So it was it was a funny game. It had some good humor to it. But like Austin says, it was not necessarily great. It was definitely a product of its time. I don't know if it would translate really well, but I've got a soft spot for it. So if it looks like he knows what he's doing, Johnson, I think Mr. Johnson, I can't remember his first name, is the guy's name. If he looks like he gets it, then I might throw some money.
What's curious about it to me, and maybe there's some very easy explanation to this, according to what I'm reading, it's being developed independently from Sega. Does he just own the rights to it? Because that seems strange.
I guess he must now. The last ToeJam and Earl game to come out came out on, I think, the PlayStation.
I'm looking it up right now, and no, it actually came out on ToeJam and Earl 3 came out on the first Xbox.
Okay, all right, the Xbox then.
And
I wouldn't be surprised if Sega sold him the rights for like $85 a sandwich or something. Sega is in serious trouble these days.
And also hungry, apparently.
$85 and half a copy of 50 Shades of Grey.
It wouldn't have been out at the time, but yes, Johnny.
No, I mean the book, because they'd be like, we need to learn how to make as much money as this. That's it. Put more whips and chains in our game.
Is that what happened to Sonic Boom when they're all covered in bandages? Did they?
What?
In the latest Sonic game.
As far away from that game as possible. And
in the latest Sonic game, Leon, all the Sonic characters are covered in bandages.
It's hot.
I don't know. I still don't understand what attracts Sonic fans to Sonic so fervently. It's an eternal mystery.
It's that one cartoon, not the bad one, but the good one where they're like in a post-apocalyptic wasteland, which is an amazing concept for a Sonic cartoon. But the games themselves, I mean, I'm the wrong guy to ask about this, maybe, but they obviously we know about their spotty record, but nostalgia will take you a long way. I mean, I was a Genesis kid. I grew up with Sonic, and I like those games, but I didn't become a Sonic fan. Like, there's a specific connotation with people who are really into Sonic. It's also a community where the Venn diagram of Sonic fan and furry overlaps. And I'm not making fun of furries. I don't want anyone to give me a hard time. Everyone's got a thing. I don't care. I'm just saying that might help push it along into a lasting fandom. That's all.
All I know is that when I got my hands on Sonic Adventure for the first time, I think I made it about 90 minutes, and I was like, yeah, I'm out. And then I, washed my hands of the whole thing. I was done. I was like, that's enough for me. Goodbye, Sonic.
Aww.
We had fun.
Yeah.
And I still talk about Sonic as, that guy I knew in high school, and I'm like, yeah, we had some good times. I wonder what he's up to now. And people go, well, a new game is... I go, nah.
I don't wonder that hard. It was an idle wonder.
Yeah, I'm not gonna Google what he's doing, I just, every now and again, I kind of muse on the time that we spent together and how we had to go fast.
We're, I guess past the halfway point in the show. I have to do a thing. It'll take, 30 seconds. Hey, everyone. Do you like Wordfunk and Renegade Cut and Attack of the Trek? Did you know that Blip doesn't pay for shit anymore? and basically that YouTube can suck my dick? Guess what? Now you can make sure that these shows stay around even though I'm getting no ad revenue from them. Go to patreon.com/renegadecut and these things will happen for you. The return of Attack of the Trek, which is now a thing. The return of Heart of Gaming for a miniseries, which could be a thing soon. And the removal of mid-rolls, which we all kind of want. Wordfunk is always free. Renegade Cut and Attack of the Trek will be donation-based, basically.
Tell me more!
No, that's basically it. No,
I feel like
you waited too long.
You waited too long to say tell me more. There isn't a whole lot to it. It's just go make sure that these shows exist. Because that's it.
And don't worry, none of the revenue hits Austin or I, so...
Yeah, Johnny...
You're supporting the dignity part of the Wordfunk podcast. I do this pro boner.
Yeah. Johnny, Austin, and I once had a conversation, I don't remember if it was on the air, about how you guys want to split the, quote-unquote, the revenue from Wordfunk, and I'm not even joking, I'm going to tell you how much money the most recent episode of Wordfunk made by going onto my Blip dashboard.
Transparency.
Yeah, complete transparency. I have no problem with this. I mean, this is all crowdfunded. I mean, Wordfunk isn't, but I'll just tell you anyway. The episode Ridiculously Sexy Legs, our previous one, so far has made exactly a quarter.
Dang.
Jeez,
So women in it.
You could buy a quarter of a vanilla ice cream cone with that.
Yeah, almost. I'm getting there. Just the top part. Just the top part. So,
Just
and the sad thing is that, episodes, like Renegade Cut episodes that get, no offense, but like significantly more views than Word Fuck. Also,
you don't say, Leon. People actually watch quality broadcasting over, I don't know, mindless pap.
Yeah. They also just make almost shit. Without going into exact specifics, I can buy 2 ice cream cones from the Nightcrawler episode, which was reasonably popular. That's how, the views are still good, but Blip is doing a thing that's bad.
Well, the only thing worse than this current copyright situation, at least in America, I don't know if anybody listening is in a country that has better copyright laws, but our thing's so fucked up. The only thing worse is the complete collapse of the content economy and the advertising models that were kind of keeping all of this going. We talk about Blip. Blip is dying. It was their parent company was bought by Disney, and they're essentially being shuttered. But everyone, like between ad block and just like changing in the way these things are done, like all of this is falling apart, and the internet's gonna be way different in a couple of years than it has been.
It's pretty fucking, like, it's grossly fascinating, like a train crash, that you're kind of watching happen in slow motion before your eyes. Like, I know people who do their best to, like, support artists verbally.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, yeah, I'm gonna go on the Facebook page and like, I got a friend that plays music in Toronto, and he's got like music videos up on YouTube, which are mostly used to bolster online sales of his albums and stuff like that, right? And I actually saw this guy on my friend's Facebook page talk about installing ad block on, like, basically telling my musician friend to install ad block so that when he watched content on YouTube, he wouldn't have to watch advertisements. I have to take this fucking kid to task to be like, okay, so you're telling one artist who makes it by on the grace of his fans buying his shit, and he works a full-time day job as well. Like, this guy is not a rock star, he busts his ass doing like a 40-hour work week like any other fucking working Joe out there, so he can spend his hard-earned money to go into the studio and record like 8 or 9 songs every fucking like 3 or 4 years. He had the gall to be like, fucking, these people don't deserve to get paid for their efforts.
Yeah.
And it's fucking incredible. The reason why YouTube wound up being worth so much money is because everybody was fucking using it. Why was everybody using it? Because you could just get on YouTube and do fucking whatever you wanted to do. And then
YouTube's always operated at a loss, though, just because of the massive amount of data they have to handle.
True. But and now, of course, they're seeking for ways to monetize it better. We're gonna be able to tell our kids, like, man, when we were growing up, the internet was so different. Like, you could just look up anything, you could download anything. Like, there was, like, the drones wouldn't just come through the window and take you away.
It's coming.
Yeah, it's going to be different. I don't know how much different because, right now the whole net neutrality battle and stuff, who knows how that's going to turn out. But it's going to be different no matter what.
It weirds me out that people aren't willing to pay for things that they consume, even with their time.
It doesn't. I guess it doesn't really matter now because ads do shit now. Now it's really just all about Patreon for me.
Well, it didn't work.
I don't even care. It didn't work.
That system of, good faith didn't work, so now we got something else. It occurs to me that we probably should have waited for a better episode for the heartfelt plea for your career, because this one has been a train wreck. Although none of our episodes are actually good.
No.
Just whether or not they're spectacular train wrecks, or just sort of like, oh, look at that.
I'll never put what I call Renegade Cut Media, the umbrella term for everything I do on the internet. That includes WordFunk, but I'll never put WordFunk on my Patreon.
WordFunk is it's about engagement because it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't make you any actual money. But
right.
If someone's watching Renegade Cut because they enjoy it and they're watching this, then they're like a fan. They're like someone who follows you. But if someone just catches an episode of Renegade Cut every once in a while,
Which sometimes people do because they feel the need to denigrate our politics frequently, I've noticed.
Actually, no, the comments last week were great. Someone linked a picture. It was a DeviantArt of like a bunch of ferrets. Have I mentioned that I love ferrets on this podcast, or did the listeners just know me really well?
I think we have talked at great length about ferrets on the BT podcast.
Okay.
I'm
all about ferrets. They're the best.
Well, I remember we talked about why Torchlight 2 was going to be better than Diablo 3 because ferrets...
Holy shit, that was like the second episode of the BT podcast. That was like 4 years ago.
I remember things, okay? None of them very useful.
So, ferrets are good.
What were we talking about?
You brought up your Patreon. We were going to transition to another story, and then we just started talking about the online content community thing because guys, no one cares about us.
No. Yeah. Oh, one more thing I'll say about my Patreon, because I can.
Who's gonna stop you?
Yeah, really. The thing that actually makes it worthwhile more than anything. I mean, if you want to throw in like 10 cents per episode, that's cool too. But the thing that makes it most worthwhile is the people who go like to the upper tier level buying thing and say, you have to make an episode about this now. And
I am still holding my episode for you over your head.
Yeah.
I have that in my back pocket.
That's true.
If I ever hit the lotto, I'm gonna make you do like 1,000 episodes on shit you really fucking hate. I'm gonna become like a puppet master arch-villain.
I'll take it too. I'll take all the money too. I don't even care. So anyway, but it's actually pretty cool because usually the things that people pick have been really good. I'm gonna be doing Perfect Blue soon, the anime film that I have yet to see, but I really want to see. And so
that's Satoshi Kon.
Yep.
He directed an episode of the OVA for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stardust Crusaders in the 90s.
All right.
Which, you guys don't know anything about JoJo. I need someone to talk to
I
about
only
JoJo.
know what you told me about JoJo, and it sounds frightening. So, naturally, I am attracted to it.
It's just bodybuilders punching vampires.
Now I am really attracted to it sexually.
Yeah, it's super gay.
Vampire bodybuilder sex dungeon? I'm in.
It's been going for 30 years, and there's like one main female character.
Now I am super mega sexually attracted to it.
Okay. Do we want to talk about the Oscars before we go, or is that not? Do we not care that much?
Nobody has told me what kind of sandwich Christoph Waltz brought to the Oscars, and I feel left out. So, do either of you guys know?
He didn't win anything.
No, I know that, but like. Him and his fat burger at the Golden Globes were my couple of the night, so I want to know, did he bring a Reuben? Did he bring, like what, you know? Like, was it a club sandwich? I have to know.
Leon, you're the only one who actually watched it, right?
Yeah, I did watch it. I actually really, I have no sandwich update, but I did watch it, and I really enjoyed it. I know a lot of people didn't
the broadcast, like the show.
Yeah,
really?
the show itself. Yeah, a lot of people said they really hated Neil Patrick Harris's jokes. Not like he wrote them, but they didn't like his puns. I loved his puns. I loved them so much. I liked when the woman who had a weird gown on and little poofy things on it accepted her award, and she walked off, and he said, it took a lot of balls to put that on, and I thought that was great too. I like puns. I like wordplay. I don't want someone to come up there and like tell dirty jokes and like make fun of the crowd in that Ricky Gervais way. I thought he was charming. And his musical number in the beginning was great.
I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I think Lady Gaga killed it.
Oh yeah, she has a beautiful voice. I thought that was great. I've never seen that movie, but I thought she did a really great job.
I didn't watch the thing. I only looked at the list of people who won, and American Sniper didn't win anything important, so that's good.
I only watched the Lady Gaga bit.
So I just want to say something real quick before we go. I went into watching Boyhood expecting kind of like not to like it because it doesn't seem like it would be my kind of movie, and everything I heard about it was just wrong, basically. Everyone said, there's no plot, and nothing really happens, and everyone mumbles through the whole thing. First of all, I heard every word. So y'all need to like get the wax out of your ears. I heard every word that they said. No one was mumbling at all. All the dialogue was completely clear. So I have no idea what they're talking about. And it wasn't boring. It was pretty engaging for just from my perspective. And in terms of nothing happening, that's a bunch of bullshit. Because I could tell you everything that happened in that movie just because.
Don't.
No, I won't because it takes 3 hours. But I will say this: the whole idea that people kept saying this has no plot. Like, yeah, it does. It's in fact very straightforward. It's like a series of like 15-minute vignettes about like a day really in this kid's life, and then a year later we get a little bit more, and that's it. When people say this has no plot, I would think what they mean is it has no 3-act plot structure. Like there's no like rising action and big climax and then things settle down. It's very simple. The plot.
I imagine there was rising action during the puberty scenes.
Oh my God, Johnny, shut up.
Do you think people get mad that their lives don't have plots?
Yeah, maybe that's it. I can only assume that's it. Look,
I'm 46 and my villain hasn't shown up. This is bullshit.
Right. I have no arch nemesis at all.
Or is the villain me?
Oh. That's a twist. It would be terrible if your life really is like more like a Hollywood movie. You have to wait until like your deathbed before the twist.
And you only get one love scene.
Yeah. Oh God, that's terrible.
Leon, you're doing an episode on Birdman, right?
Yeah, I'm working on it right now.
Okay, so that won most of the awards. So that
as we speak.
No, I'm not typing into the computer as we speak, but I mean that it is the next one. I actually decided it would be the next one before the awards. It just happened to win.
This is weird. I am watching movies right before you do episodes of them.
Okay.
Renegade Cup.
Good.
Cut. Like I watched Nightcrawler literally the night before your Nightcrawler episode went up, and I watched Birdman 2 nights ago, and now you're like, I'm doing a Birdman episode.
Well, I guess that then after that you're gonna have to rewatch Citizen Kane because that's what I'm doing right after that.
I would love to, but my Kung Fu master has it right now.
I like that. That's an honest sentence.
Yeah, that's an actual possibility with Johnny.
No, it really is. He's got it.
Okay. All right, we have to go. Anything you guys want to say before we wrap up?
I want to say last week I told a story about headbutting someone to unconsciousness and that made me sound like a psycho. So I want to clarify. Yeah. I did not attack them. We were having a conversation, and I said, "Hey, I bet I could beat you up with my hands tied behind my back." And he was like, "No, you can't." So I did it.
Oh, okay. Well, then he had it coming because he trusted you, and then you betrayed his trust.
I didn't betray his trust. I proved a point. We were arguing, and I won, and he wouldn't concede, so I had to keep headbutting him until he lost consciousness.
Obviously. Here's the thing about headbutts. How does that work? Because I assume, doesn't that hurt you just as much?
I mean, yeah, it does hurt you, but you try to use the hardest part of your head against the softest part of theirs, ideally. Oh. That's the proper technique, yeah.
It actually makes sense. Okay, I learned something here today about how to headbutt someone. I'm never going to. If anything, I will be the...
Never say never, Leon.
No, if anything, I will be the headbutt-y, not the headbutter. Johnny, anything you want to say before we go?
Yeah, I kind of want to know why it's called a necklace.
Because it goes on your neck, and it has, like, a lace part.
But is it really lace? They're more like neck chains these days.
Well, now, I imagine originally they might have incorporated lace in some of them.
I know, but could you imagine trying to, like, tie a piece of lace around your neck? I would, like, rip that shit to pieces.
All right, we gotta go. I'll see
you guys. Did you find the etymology of necklace?
I did. Apparently, it does have stuff on it, but it's supposed to have an actual like a wire or something around it, but no, not anymore. It doesn't matter anymore, I guess. The language changed, and
it matters to me.
Nothing matters more than the definition of necklace. Okay, I gotta go.
Now I want to launch into a chorus of nothing really matters.
Bye, Johnny.
No, I'm pressing the red button now, so you can't.